Welcome, folks, to our morning Chassidus together. We continue with the Mimer. Okay. Okay. So we have a question. Why is it that the story of Purim is the finishing off of the giving of the Torah at Mount Sinai? Torah at Mount Sinai was the beginning of our acceptance, and at the story of Purim, it was the finale. So we explained that ultimately, to have Torah, it necessitates rising above ourselves. And ourselves means our physical selves and our spiritual selves. And to study Torah, as we're doing right now, as an end in itself, for its own sake, for the very simple reason, it's one with God. Not for the benefit that there is, not that there isn't a benefit, but not the motivation is not for the benefit of wisdom, its wisdom, not for the benefit of its refinement of yourself or of the world, and not for the benefit of the soul's connection that it experiences. That's all for ourselves. And not to suggest that there isn't that benefit, there is, but that the motivation rises above that. And we went through a lot explaining that. So with that, then we can appreciate what it means. The conclusion of all of this comes by the story of Purim. Because what we're talking about in such a learning of Torah is to rise above me. Well, that's what the Jews did in the story of Purim. They had Chassidus nefesh, self-sacrifice. They had self-sacrifice. And that's the expression of the learning of Torah, to have self-sacrifice. In other words, you're sacrificing your own benefit. Again, not that the benefit doesn't come, but you're not doing it for the benefit. You're not even doing it for the spiritual connection. You're doing it because, for the sake of Torah, that Torah is one with God. And again, for its sake. Right? Which is a bit hard to wrap our heads around, because we always do something for a reason, or for the benefit, the gain. No. So likewise, that's the Chassidus nefesh, the self-sacrifice that the Jews had in the story of Purim. And it was a sacrifice not of just a soul sacrifice, but of the physical body, because in the story of Purim, it was unlike Hanukkah. Hanukkah was a decree against the soul of the Jew, right? Not to be connected to Torah and mitzvahs, to God, that it should be soulless, right? Our Judaism, a tradition, fine, a wisdom, fine, but nothing beyond, nothing of a divine nature. That was the story of Hanukkah that the Greeks wanted to eradicate. Purim, they wanted to eradicate the very Jew himself. And the self-sacrifice expressed itself. Self-sacrifice expressed itself in the oh, hello, how are you? Mazel tov.
Thank you.
You need something?
What?
Do you need something? You need something?
No.
Yeah? Okay.
Just where do you place these stuff?
Huh?
Where do I place this?
What is it? What's in the bag?
Napkins and
Oh, that'll be for downstairs. So just put it by the steps and they'll take it downstairs, I guess. Okay? Yes. So, sorry, we're saying this. So it was a sacrifice not just of the soul, but of the body of the Jewish people. And the decree was only if you remained a Jew. But if you opted out, there wasn't a decree against someone who opted out from being Jewish. That was the sacrifice. Standing above and beyond. Every single Jew. So, meaning that the Jewishness wasn't just something of an experience of one's soulful stirring, but it reached all the way to the physical reality of each and every single Jew, and ready to sacrifice. And sacrifice means a self-effacement. It's not about me. It's about something greater than me. My, allegiance to the Jewish people, my allegiance to God, my allegiance to the Torah. So there was such a self-effacement, not just in soul, not just in body, but in the very fact of being. Because they could have chosen to be something else. Not that you can, but, as far as the decree would not have been applied to them. Which is similar to the idea of the study of Torah beyond the human condition, beyond the physical and spiritual needs of the individual. This is beyond that. And this was specifically through the inspiration of Mordechai. Mordechai, who was the Moses of his generation, was specifically the one who inspired. And specifically, therefore, he brings 22,000 Jewish children who will have a purity to come and study Torah. That in that inspiration that inspired the rest of the Jewish people, that they should have a purity too. And that's what it means to express on Purim that we say l'chaim until you don't know the difference between blessed is Mordechai and cursed is Haman. Because we have to reach to a place that's beyond the human condition. Sorry. The left door, open up. Okay. That we say l'chaim until you don't know the difference. And therefore, meaning beyond the human condition, we rise up, which is expressed by their self-sacrifice in Purim, in actuality. And we do that every year. That allows us then to go out of ourselves, beyond ourselves. As at Purim, they went beyond themselves in the self-sacrifice. As the acceptance of Torah is beyond themselves for its own sake. So they did it for their own sake. That, hey, I'm a Jew and nothing but. And therefore we go beyond ourselves in Purim and say l'chaim to such a degree that, hey, I'm not accepting it because I understand, not because that's what I experience, but that's what I am. Okay, that's Purim. I'm going to leave a bit early. We have Bar Mitzvah here, so I don't know what's Chumash or Rashi, what we're going to do because of the celebration we have here, but we're going to do something.